Hello everybody and welcome to room 439 at the Hilton in Vancouver, Washington, also known as the VIP room at the Pacific Northwest Homebrewers Conference. I'm here with
Jeremy Jalabert,
and he has a show called
Grist Mash.
Kind of like Chop and Brew, man. It's all about the ampersand. And we've squirreled ourselves away here. We just shot a quick interview for his show, and now he has a beer to share that has kind of a chop and brew related angle, I guess. Tell us about the beer.
So this is a beer, it's a Scottish Light, and it's Nate Smith's recipe from Denny and Drew's new book. And I brewed it, just got super inspired to brew it. How it ties back to chop and brew is the video of you guys in Brian Adams' brewery brewing a Saison, and ever since that video I thought, I'm gonna keep track of what these dudes are up to in terms of brewing, and I thought, Nate Smith, and he was from the Bay Area, I believe, right? And I'm from the Bay Area originally, and just was really inspired. So this like kind of 6 degree separation thing, and I was like lined up, and I was like, this is.
And then you're like, I only thought he brewed IPAs. Oh, I'm following him down this trail now.
But yeah, cheers.
Yeah. Coincidentally, Nathan Smith is actually from Minnesota.
Nice, yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely, his name and his persona scream Bay Area at this point.
And the funny story behind this beer is, so it was a brew in a bag. I brewed a couple of things that day, and this was just sort of a side beer, and and was excited about it. But it was one of those kind of little engine that could. When I first tasted it, it was all right, and I had bottled a few off the keg, and we have a big competition every year called KLCC. It's a radio station in Eugene, and it's a pretty big brew fest. Usually a little under 300 entries, and kind of for our club and our zone, it's a big deal kind of competition. And so I decided that I was going to go all in, and I put 14 entries and with the thought that at least something's got to come through. And I was actually thinking about quitting competing, because I've been competing the last 3 years. It's been fun, but I was trying to think about other things in brewing besides competing. But to make a long story short,
best of show, first place, front side 50-50, Jeremy Jalabert.
This beer ended up doing really good and got first place in that category, and ended up going on to get best of show. And I thought, again, kind of little engine that could, because usually, things that triumph in those big competitions are, giant beers that are super high in alcohol, or, and so I feel like this one kind of made its way through, and, just was a fun beer, and I love the style.
Yeah.
And so yeah, through inspiration from you guys and in that book, and I was like, man, all right, Nate Smith. So I actually emailed Denny Kahn after. I was like, dude, look at this thing that won. And he emailed Nate, and so Nate emailed him back saying, awesome, so
nice.
It was just a cool kind of, small community, but they were all kind of inspiring each other, and yeah, so I thought,
what do you get out of the beer? Your personal take.
I think for me, it's really drinkable. I've never used that Scottish yeast, so that was kind of a learning curve to see how it was handling. And for me, it's just really, this is the kind of beer I like to crush on like kind of a midday. And Eugene's always raining, so it's kind of like, I feel like it's a little piece of Scotland, and
I like its dryness though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got that malty character, that caramel, that toasty. Is there Munich in the beer like that?
A little bit of Munich,
okay.
yeah.
It's definitely got that. But this version has a great dry finish. Now, I don't know if that's from hops or if that's from gravity. That's good.
Yeah, and it was, I think it's, Maris, a little bit of crystal, a little bit of Munich, and a little bit of chocolate in the Scottish yeast. And, and what I think actually, it sat in the bottle for, I don't know, probably like 6 months. And I was kind of worried when I put it in the competition. I thought, this is going to be stale. I think it got a little bit, maybe a little tiny bit of oxidation, but actually helped.
Yeah.
I think it sort of brought forward some of the maltiness and kind of rounded it out the edges that were a little bit flatter before.
Okay.
So actually, I was totally surprised that it got in first place. I was like, what? That's the one?
And then that put you in running,
right?
Potentially, right, for Oregon Home Brewer of the Year.
Right, and I didn't even realize that would happen. I just got another email from Jason Barker, who runs the Oregon State Home Brewer of the Year competition, and it's a really interesting thing that basically does like a data analytics scan of these certain competitions, and if you get first places, it puts you into this ranking order, and it's a really fascinating point system where it's like the amount of beers that are in there in category, whatever, and by virtue of getting that first place, it put me in the first place. I mean, it's a long haul to the end of the calendar year, so I probably won't be the first place forever, but because you basically got to continue to win these key competitions throughout and keep your points up.
So now you have to enter if you want to win.
Yeah. So my strategy was I'm going to compete throughout the end of this year and try to win, but I won't be crying if I lose either. Yeah, man. So it's good stuff.
Well, good luck. Too bad it's not vote based, because we could probably help you. We could be like, so everybody jam the phone lines and stuff the ballot box. Jeremy 2017. Oh my God. I still write 2016 all the time, and it's mid-March. Jeremy 2020.
But I am going to rebrew it, and that'll be interesting too.
You'll enter this again.
Yeah.
But you'll also, will you do that strategy of just front-loading competitions?
Probably not. I think what I'm going to try to do now is actually be a little more conscientious and put things in, maybe less is more approach. Like, can I put in things that I think are higher quality? In that 14, it was interesting reading all the notes, because a lot of them were in that sort of 30 range of points, and so not great, not amazing, and starting to help me realize too where some of my brewing strengths are. So I think beers like this are more in my current skill set, and in the area of like pale ales and IPAs I enjoy, but I'm not the best brewer of those. And it's interesting because Northwest, and I guess everywhere, drinks a lot of those beers, and I sort of dialed back my consumption of IPAs and things because I'm more interested in like Pilsners now and those types of beers. But there's so much to learn on the non-hoppy beer side too of beers, and that's kind of where I'm headed. And figure I'll keep doing that, and focus on my Grissom Ash project. And
can I explain that real quick, and we'll send some people your way?
Yeah. So Grissom Ash, it's inspired by Chop and Brew and Good Beer Hunting's podcast and a bunch of other. I read a lot about brewing and just consume a lot of beer and brewing related media, and thought it was time for me to try to contribute. In Eugene, Oregon, Lane County, we have a lot of amazing beer related things, but there isn't a ton of documentation, and I don't quite know why. I mean, we're a relatively large city, So I thought, I've been talking about it for a couple of years, and then finally I realized either I got to do something or I got to stop talking about it. And so basically the goal is to just document conversations in sort of a loose podcast format, kind of usually single shot, just conversations.
What people say, what do I like about it? For me, brewing it's creative and it's scientific, so it's cerebral and expressive. It's social like this, and it's introverted. When you're by yourself doing your thing, it's super powerful too. And it's physical and then, intellectual. And so it's very balanced if you look at it that way.
I would say for home brewers, if you want to invest in a good piece of scientific equipment, like spend a lot of money on a good hydrometer, right? And spend time really learning how to read it.
Right.
I can't tell you how many problems come from two different people reading the same hydrometer different ways.
Yeah.
One of the encouraging things I'm seeing here and in other places, but especially here in Oregon, is the rise of craft maltsters.
Yeah. The theme for me is around kinship and brewing, so it's really about the beer is important, but it also brings people together. Like if I hadn't made this beer, reached out to you to talk, the beer is kind of a conduit to a conversation and connections. And so I'm fascinated by the cultural kind of pieces, some of, I guess, the sociology, and brewing's brought a lot to my life, so I'm trying to want to document that in Eugene, what we're doing matters, and for homebrewing in particular, we're a fairly humble group of folks, but I'm trying to get people to get out and brag about themselves a little bit and talk about their beer in their community, and so hopefully we can contribute and make that connection. So
you've learned at least one thing, that if you have beer, Chip Walton will meet you in a weird hotel room in a random city.
VIP style.
Homebrew only in the VIP room.
So if you use this video, though, I hope you do some of that chop and screw like voice.
Be like, beer is a conduit for conversation, son. All right, man, we're about to go off the rails.
All right.
Club Brews is happening tonight at Pacific Northwest Homebrew Conference. Things are about to get lit and off the rails. So Till the next time, thanks for the invite.
Thank you, man.
Grist for grist.
Mash for mash.
Chop for chop.
Brew for brew.
People can be like, oh, I see. They're going to use that joke twice in both of these videos.
But I had my pinky out when I took a sip.
Oh, did you?
So,
Yeah.
I'm trying to,
Class it up a bit.
I'm trying to learn from the wine people. You know, that's the thing. Those wine folks, they got some style, and I've been like, you know, kind of hating for years, and now I'm like, I think they kind of got something.
If you use this video, I hope you do some of that chop and screw like voice. Be like, beer is a conduit for conversation, son.